Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we'll be investors seeking to make the most money by developing buildings in the estates. You'll be bidding for various building pieces using an interesting auction mechanism and placing them in the estates to their benefit. All buildings in completed rows score positive points, while buildings in incomplete rows score negative points. The Estates is a 2 to 5 player game and takes 40 to 60 minutes to play. It's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to give you an overview of how the game works, and then I'll see you on the other side. In the Estates, you'll be trying to have the most points at the end of the game, and you'll do so by owning certificates for companies whose floor cube is on the top story of the building in a completed row of estates at the end of the game. So here we see the green floor cubes are from the company Emerald Properties. You'll be getting these floor cubes through an interesting auction mechanism where you'll be bidding with money from cool looking checks that you'll get at the beginning of the game. Even though there are 6 floor cubes of each company, only 24 of these will randomly get used each game by drawing them from a bag. During the auction, the player to the left of the auctioneer will bid, and players can bid or pass, but everyone only gets one chance. Once everyone has bid and it gets back to the auctioneer, they can either give the floor cube to the highest bidder and take their money, or they can pay that highest bidder the amount of their bid and keep the floor cube themselves. Then the player that won the floor cube will immediately place it on the board. The first floor cube of each color placed on the board will get that owner the company certificate of that color, which will be very important for scoring at the end of the game. The board is made up of 3 rows, and you'll notice this section here has 3 rows of 4 columns. This is the default size of the entire estates. When placing the floor cube, it can be placed in any of the 3 rows, but in the furthest slot closest to the street. Subsequent floor cubes can either be placed just to the right of an existing floor cube or stack it on top of an existing cube, but the number of the floor cube must be lower than the number it is covering. Floor cubes aren't the only thing that can be auctioned off. You can auction off a roof. These have numbers on them, but they are face down at the beginning of the game, so you don't know what number it's going to be. Now when you decide to auction off a roof tile, you flip it up to show the number, which will be worth points at the end of the game. Whoever wins that auction will place it on any floor cube that doesn't already have a roof. By default, the game ends as soon as any 2 of the 3 rows are finished, meaning they all have at least 1 floor cube and a roof. However, there's ways to manipulate when the game ends. You can choose to auction off a barrier, which the winning player can place onto the board to increase or decrease the amount of columns that need to be full in order to complete the row. These come in denominations of 1, 2, or 3. But you can cancel one of those out if you win the single cancel token throughout an auction. The key to scoring is only the person who owns the company certificate of the top floor cube of a building will score. And to make this even more interesting, the completed rows score positively, but the incompleted rows score negatively. This can also change when someone decides to auction off the mayor during the game, and once won, can get placed on the street of a specific row, which doubles the points of that row, either positive or negative depending on the game. So at the end, those that own the top floor cube of completed buildings will get points equal to the number of the roof plus all the numbers of the floor cubes in that building, remembering that those will either be positive points if the row is completed or negative points if the row is not completed. And whoever has the most points at the end will win the estates. Well, I hope this helped you get a good understanding of the estates. Now this game made my best games at the Gamma Trade Show video that I recently produced, and it also made my top 10 most anticipated games for 2018. Now it did so because I love games with simple mechanisms, yet have great depth. And that's exactly what the simply complex product line of Capstone Games is all about. Now they did a great job with The Climbers, which was the first game in this product line. Now back to the estates. The auction mechanism is so cool, where the active player can make a lot of money and give up the block, or you end up spending that money and keeping the block. I also love the theme of building real estate, and that you can purposefully score opponents negative points by placing a building that will score a lot of points, but in a row that wouldn't be finished. Now the estates is on Kickstarter right now. Now there's a link below me in the description of this video, and that will bring you right to the project where you can check out all the details and possibly pledge for the game, and I'm sure the people at Capstone Games would love your support.